Of all the traits we tend to associate with animals, perhaps none feels as unsettling as unnecessary killing. Predators, after all, are supposed to live by a simple set of rules. Hunt when you must, eat what you take, and waste nothing. For most of natural history, that equation has seemed to hold true. Yet, scattered across the animal kingdom are exceptions that challenge this neat picture. Species that kill not once, not twice, but repeatedly far more than survival demands. Their behavior can look deliberate, even ritualistic, with the same methods carried out again and again. In our world, we'd call that the signature of a serial killer. And while we're quick to imagine this as uniquely human, the truth is that nature has its own unsettling list of repeat offenders, and few pull it off with the same cold precision of the orca. In Patagonia, these black and white giants launch themselves onto the beach, stranding their own bodies in the split second it takes to seize a sea lion pup. It's a move that can end in death for the orca if the waves don't help it slide back. Yet they do it anyway, again and again. And not all the pups are eaten. Sometimes they're tossed back and forth, drowned slowly, or simply left behind. But the most unnerving behavior happens far from shore. Off South Africa's coast, pods have learned to hunt great white sharks. They don't tear into the whole body, they target the liver, just the liver, ripping it free with surgical accuracy, leaving the rest to sink. Scientists have recorded multiple kills in the same area within days, each carried out with the same precision. The repetition suggests something more deliberate than chance. A practiced technique passed among individuals, refined until it became a recognizable pattern in its own right. Move inland, and the same thread winds through very different worlds. Your house cat, yes, the one that sleeps in a sunbeam all day, fits the pattern perfectly. Pet cats in the United States alone kill billions of birds and small mammals each year. Most of those kills are never eaten. Well-fed indoor-outdoor cats will catch a finch, drop it on the porch, and walk away without a second glance. Some line up their kills in neat rows, others drag them inside as though presenting evidence. Biologists call it surplus killing, but the term feels too clean for what it really is. It's a compulsion with roots so deep in the species' past that food doesn't shut it off. That same drive is visible in their wild cousins. Red foxes in the Arctic will go on killing sprees during seabird nesting season, wiping out dozens in a day and caching some for later. But in warmer zones, where carcasses rot before they're ever eaten, they still do it. When the prey is abundant, the spree begins. And then there's the stoat, a hunter that seems built for chaos. Its body is slight, hardly larger than many of the animals it targets, yet its impact can be catastrophic. When a stoat finds its way into a chicken coop, the aftermath is a scene of mass death, the floor scattered with bodies produced in only a matter of minutes. There is no way it could consume or even store such numbers, and yet the killing continues until nothing is left alive. In the wild, the same frenzy has been recorded in seabird colonies, where an entire nesting ground can be silenced in a single night. And this kind of excess isn't confined to small predators. Among the largest carnivores of the north, the pattern only becomes more visible. Wolves have been recorded slaughtering more caribou in a single night than their pack could eat in a week. 19 in one documented case. Snow leopards in Mongolia have leapt into corrals and killed a dozen sheep before slipping back into the mountains. Some researchers explain this through caching, a behavior in which predators kill more than they need immediately, intending to hide or store the surplus for later use. It is a strategy that makes sense in harsh environments, where food can be scarce, and many species rely on it to survive lean stretches. Yet in numerous cases, the stored kills are never revisited. It's as though the presence of vulnerable prey overrides every restraint in the predator's brain. And the impulse isn't limited to what we think of as classic predators. Antarctica's Adelie penguins, those tidy, tuxedoed icons of dedication, have been filmed leaving their own colonies to attack chicks in neighboring nests. Sometimes they even eat them. Cameras have caught them killing and then walking away, leaving the bodies sprawled in the snow. Researchers have struggled to interpret whether these killings are linked to competition, population control, or something entirely different. For now, the behavior remains without a convincing explanation, leaving one of the most familiar Antarctic birds with a reputation far darker than its outward appearance suggests. Even among the smallest hunters, the same unsettling rhythm appears. The shrike, often nicknamed the butcher bird, captures insects, small birds, and even small reptiles, but what it does afterward is what sets it apart. Instead of consuming its prey immediately, it frequently impales the bodies on sharp thorns, cactus spines, or strands of barbed wire, creating a line of victims suspended in plain view. Some of these caches are eaten later, serving as a kind of larder during leaner seasons. Yet the behavior continues even when food is abundant, suggesting the act has become more than storage alone. In certain cases, the arrangement of the impaled animals seems deliberate, almost as if meant to be displayed. To human eyes, the result resembles a collection, a grim series of trophies that testify less to survival than to a methodical instinct carried out again and again. And the sea otter, so often sold as the face of harmless cuteness, has one of the darkest entries on the list. Along the California coast, male sea otters have been documented attacking baby seals. Not to feed, not to claim territory. The encounters can last for hours, ending only when the pup is dead. In some cases, the attacks are repeated on the same body. It's not every otter that does it, but the individuals that start often repeat the behavior. Even the insect world isn't free from it. Dragonfly larvae will seize and kill tadpoles long after they're full, holding the bodies for minutes before releasing them untouched. Assassin bugs can go on stabbing sprees, piercing multiple victims in rapid succession before stopping to feed on just one. In dense populations, you might chalk it up to competition control. Alone, it's harder to explain. And in primates, the behavior takes on an eerily familiar shape. Among chimpanzees, males in certain troops have been seen killing infants, sometimes their own species, sometimes not, and leaving the bodies. The act isn't always tied to reproductive advantage. Sometimes there's no clear gain at all. What stands out instead is the repetition, the way certain individuals return to the same act with the same precision, as though the behavior itself has become the focus. It leaves the impression that for these animals, the act of killing is not simply a step toward something else. It is the central event. If we move from chimpanzees to larger predators, one of the most notorious examples of surplus killing comes from the spotted hyena. Hyenas already get a bad rep thanks to the Lion King, but in reality, they're some of the smartest, most socially complex carnivores on the planet. Hyenas are capable of problem-solving on a level comparable to primates. They can recognize individuals, and they navigate shifting alliances within clans that sometimes number 80 or more. Yet intelligence does not prevent them from excess. When circumstances align, when prey is weakened, trapped, or unusually abundant, a clan of hyenas can transform an open plain into a scene of devastation, leaving behind far more bodies than they could possibly consume. Most of the time, hyenas are efficient. They'll take down prey, eat their fill, and move on. But when prey is cornered or weakened, especially during droughts or when herds are trapped by water, they've been documented killing far more than they can consume. Some researchers think this is about eliminating competition, wiping out rivals before they can breed, eat, or fight back. Others see signs of play behavior woven into the chaos. It's here you start to notice a pattern in these serial killer animals. Intelligence. The smarter the species, the more likely it is to kill for reasons beyond simple hunger, which brings us to a killer with one of the biggest brains in the animal kingdom. Corvids, the family of birds that includes ravens, crows, and magpies. Notorious problem solvers, capable of using tools, holding grudges, and recognizing individual human faces. They're also capable of calculated, repeated killing that doesn't fit the eat what you kill model. In parts of Europe, ravens have been known to systematically target newborn lambs, not for the meat, but to peck out their eyes or tongues, then leave the rest of the body untouched. Farmers who witness it are often horrified because it's not a quick kill, it's a drawn-out process of harassment, maiming, and abandonment. Why? Some suspect the behavior evolved as a way to weaken and eventually scavenge livestock without direct confrontation, but in many documented cases, the ravens never come back for the carcass. It's as if the act itself, not the meal, is the point. A study in Norway even recorded one pair of ravens returning to the same farm day after day to attack lambs, ignoring other easier food sources. The killings stopped only when one bird was removed, suggesting it wasn't a random behavior at all, but a deliberate campaign. From birds that kill like assassins to mammals with mob tactics, we arrive at the bottlenose dolphin, a species so often portrayed as playful and friendly that its darker behaviors are easy to overlook. In Scottish waters, researchers began to notice an unsettling pattern among young harbor porpoises. Carcasses were turning up with no signs of feeding, yet the bodies bore massive internal injuries. Broken ribs, ruptured organs, trauma consistent with being struck at high speed. These were not attacks from sharks or larger whales. The victims were not even of the same species as their attackers. Direct observation eventually confirmed the culprit. Bottlenose dolphins. driving into porpoises with deliberate force, killing them, and then leaving the bodies adrift. The motive? Unclear. One theory is that it's misdirected infanticide. Dolphins practicing the brutal tactics they sometimes use against rival males' calves. Another is that it's sheer territorial aggression. But the most disturbing possibility, suggested by the sheer number of kills and the lack of feeding, is that it's fun for them. Dolphins have been seen playing with the bodies after killing, tossing them in the air like toys. It's hard not to see shades of cruelty in that. The more you look at these cases, the more you see that serial killing in nature isn't a glitch. It's a shadow feature of intelligence, opportunity, and instinct colliding. Animals don't share our moral frameworks, but they share some of our neural architecture for reward, curiosity, and practice. And sometimes that's enough to drive behavior that looks eerily like murder for murder's sake. So maybe the unsettling truth is this: humans didn't invent senseless killing. We just perfected the storytelling around it. Out there, in the forests, the tundra, the open seas, there are predators who kill again and again, not to survive, but because something in their wiring tells them to. Whether it's play, practice, or something darker, the result is the same: a tally that keeps climbing. And when you think about it, that might be the most chilling part. Because if intelligence and abundance can turn a predator into a repeat killer, what happens when the most intelligent species of all gets bored?